Hi, welcome everyone. We're in my wormery. Right behind me, you got my shelf with all the different worm bins on it, and what you see right here on the table in front of us is my oldest worm bin, and today we're going to harvest. So let me get onto the other side of the table, slip on a glove, and we'll get right to work on this. Here we go. So now step one is going to be to simply extract the worms from this side of the bin. So only this side's been fed for the past month or so, 31, 32 days. As far as the day count for this bin is concerned, this is a 193 day bin now, so it's a week away from being 200 days old. So let's first remove everything. Is it melon? Maybe this is banana peel. Banana peels might be what I'm looking at here. Let's see worms. Down here we've got some chunks of bedding. It almost seems to me like I should try to scoop out as many worms as I could, and then maybe just cover the whole pile up with this food. Let's see. My idea was to just be able to scoop straight down into this area and take with it all the worms that are in it, but I guess that also means I need to take with it any sort of bedding material and food that's surrounding them. Try to limit the amount of castings I drag over. So what I'll do is I'll just take the food and bedding material that I scooped out of the bottom and just place it right on top of these guys. Should make for a pretty cozy place for them to be for a little bit. Alrighty. I'll just take this cardboard material too and throw it on top. And we'll just say what's remaining is all fair game to the screening process. Move on to the next phase. We'll put the worms aside for now and get ourselves geared up for the next phase, which is screening. So the screening process uses my fancy screener with catch, and they slide right into each other. I have a brick over here to keep it from sliding away. And my approach for doing this is to give myself a little bit of a working area on one end, on the side of the screen. That'll be over here. So to give myself that working area, I'm going to have to move all this material aside to one end, to the opposite end. You can see here too, we've got a tremendous number of worms on the bottom. Wow. Whatever, we'll just leave them out as part of the screening process. Fortunately, the castings are all very fine. They don't stick to anything, they just crumble away neatly. So it's very easy to handle. Alright, so up here I'm almost running out of room to pile material up, but this material up here on the top is what we're going to begin with. And we're going to begin by just scraping it off the top, but only after we've given the worms here a little bit of a chance to recede down into the material, so that they're kind of turned off by the bright light overhead. Let's see if we can get that a little bit more closely situated overhead. Right? And that bright light is going to help drive the worms down into the material. They don't like the light, so you can see them all trying to recede. So I'll just clean up my workspace over here on the edge. Okay, let's go. What's not going through is, what do we got here? I think if it were castings, it would peel apart from itself much more readily. So maybe this is some other sort of organic matter that's pretty far along in the decomposition process or breakdown process. But I think if the screen is catching it, then I'm just going to exclude it. And what that really means is it's going to end up going back into a bin so that it has more time to continue breaking down. Alright, well I think we're at that point now where I'm not going to bother skimming anymore. I think we're done. You can see right here, right below the surface of the castings, you've already got like huge balls of, I don't know if it's balls or just one continuous mass of worms everywhere. This little bit of casting material, whatever, just going to let it slide. It's really not that much relative to what we just collected. And now it's a matter of I guess, pulling the worms out of here. I'm taking a look at how many we got. But now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this container that we had previously. This container we had put the first batch of worms in during the first pass. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take all this uncomposted food material and just set it aside. There's some good chunks of stuff in here. And you know, my thought was to put the worms into here, but I don't know if there's enough space in this container for all this. Just doesn't seem like there is enough room. Let's give it a try. So there's one glob of worms out of the bottom. Okay, so what we're ending up with is material rich with worms. So maybe I'll try to do the same thing again, is just set it up in such a way that they can dive down and then I can try to scoop them out in a big mass. And maybe some of these castings can just stay behind. But in the end, maybe that can actually all fit into here, we'll see. Wondering if I do another grab down here. Okay. Now we definitely have a large number of worms in this container, and I guess what's good is that down low there is a bunch of uneaten food and large chunks of cardboard, all that material that we scooped out earlier from the feeding zone. I think they'll retreat nicely down into that, and then maybe we can even scoop some of this casting material off the top. And maybe not have to fill this container all the way up to the brim. So I'll just set this aside. Maybe put a little bit of cardboard on top to give them a break from all this blasting light. Let's take a quick look at how much casting material we collected in the end. Oh yeah. So here I'm just going to dump out the last of what remained in the sifters. Not sure what the size of this bucket is, but it's a little bit more than halfway full. So I'm not sure if this is what counts as a 5-gallon size bucket. If it is, then it's maybe 3 gallons worth of material, so not bad. It's got some serious weight to it. It's very dense and heavy. Alright, so we're really wrapping up now. This is the replacement bin. It's really the bin that was the previous setup that we just harvested out of. So I just washed it a little bit and started reloading it with garden compost and leaves. Now this layer is going to be the stuff that the sifter captured. So all that all of that larger material that didn't go through the sifter. It still needs a little more time to finish composting. Is this layer here. Let's see, what have we here? At this point I'm probably just going to blend in these old pieces of cardboard scraps to let it serve as bedding material. This is all that old stuff, some food scraps in here. Some of the old food that they didn't finish in the feeding zone. But I would really just consider all of the stuff in this bin as food for them. With the garden compost, which is some of this stuff, and wet leaves. So let's give them some more wet leaves. Some more of this fine sifted compost from the compost tumbler outside. It doesn't come out looking like that. I just sifted this also to get the really fine material. Okay. We have a little bit of leaf material. We have a little bit of wet leaves remaining to cap it all off, but I think it's time for releasing the worms. So, I recall the worms were placed into this square plastic bin. Let's release them. Okay, I think that's about it for now. I'm not going to disturb them anymore. I'm just going to let them continue settling in. I'm just going to top off the surface material with just some wet leaves. And I have a piece of newspaper I can put over the top of that, and that'll be it. So this took a little while. I don't know why. Alright, now that's it. It's off to the shelf, and alright everyone, that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and give it a like if you did. Thanks again for stopping in, and have a great day. Bye now.